Hello YouTube friends, it's Making Chili here from AM Soaps. Today we're making cold processed soap with red wine. This is the glass I'm putting aside for myself to enjoy later. I'm making my soap today with Manischewitz, and this is a wine from Israel and it is kosher. It says here not for Passover on the label, but I could have sworn last year it said Passover wine, but it doesn't matter. I bought this wine a couple of years ago for a friend because I went to her house for Shabbat and I thought I should bring a gift, and this was the only kosher wine I could find in the small city that I live in. It still is the only kosher wine I find here. This is Merlot fragrance oil. Now I'm not going to use very much of that. It's a very strong fragrance. And I have a Merlot Sparkle Mica that I will put in part of the soap batter to give it a bit of color. Step one is we boil the wine. I do this with all alcohol soaps. I boil the alcohol first. This will get the alcohol out, and in the case of beer, it gets out the carbonation. And this is because the lye will react with the alcohol if we don't boil it first. You'll get a bit of a dangerous lye volcano. So while this comes to a boil, I am going to go sip my wine. Before we start, I just wanted to take a closer look at my Pyrex bowls here. I had a comment that it looked like they were getting scratched. I think that's just hard water marks. I do live in a place that has hard water. These I have wiped and wiped and wiped with a paper towel so you can see them. They look just like the day I bought them right now. I like using Pyrex because I can see through the container. So here is my frozen cubes. Now I know that this amount, this one ice cube tray filled as full as it can go, is exactly perfect for my recipe. So I no longer weigh or measure my goat milk or alcohols when I freeze them for my soaps. I just know one tray of cubes is perfect. And these come with this locking, there's a hole I'm pressing on the top of them. That's what pops them out of the ice cube tray here. This is just a tray from the Dollar Tree, I believe. So now we're going to start to work with lye. So let's put on our safety glasses. Should never touch sodium hydroxide without safety glasses on. Here's my sodium hydroxide. It's food grade. I get it from Edmonton, Alberta. I drive to get it because they do not ship it. And use a stainless steel spoon. And I'm just going to measure out the amount of lye that my recipe in soapcalc.net advised me to use with my blend of oils. I will add my lye in very slowly, I sprinkle it in and stir. I don't want my mixture to heat up too much. It's an exothermic reaction when the lye dissolves. Now here I'm going to add just a little bit of, this is distilled water with 1 teaspoon of sodium lactate. Now I'm doing that because I'm using my acrylic mold And I usually add some salt to the hot distilled water lye solution. I don't have that ability today, so I'm adding sodium lactate instead. I'm here at 28 Fahrenheit. I'm just going to check my temperatures as I add the lye, hoping that it doesn't heat up too much. If this heats up beyond room temperature, then I'm just going to have to wait for it to come back down to room temperature. So I've added in all the lye, and I found here I heated up to 110 Fahrenheit. That's too hot for me to use, so I'm going to let this come to room temperature and we will return. We're back now and we're at 69. My oils are at 76. So it's a bit colder because I actually put it in the fridge to speed up the cooling. This is acceptable range of temperatures. We're both kind of close to 70 there, so I am going to add this in and stick blend it up. I'm just going to separate my batter out into 3 parts here. I'm going to have batter without color. I'm going to add the Merlot mica, and I've decided I'm going to add a little bit of the crimson mica. I added about a teaspoon of each color to the 2 on the left, and the one on the right is left without color. And I get 1 more stick blend to just get the mica spread throughout the batter here. So now I'm going to add the fragrance here, just equally divided amongst these 3 more or less, and 1 last stick blend. And you don't need much of this fragrance, this Merlot. It's quite a strong fragrance. It's very pretty. It smells like a nice, rich grape with a touch of wine fragrance to it. I guess the word Merlot describes it well. So I just stick blending in the fragrance, and these are getting nice and thick, perfect for a drop swirl with large swirls instead of finely defined swirls. So that is my design goal here. So now I have my acrylic mold here, and I am just going to alternate pouring these in to get some different shapes in here. I want large swirls, large areas of the different colors. The top looked a bit boring. I gave it texture, but I felt it needed something extra, so I'm putting in some 24 karat gold mica. This gets airborne really fast. That's why I'm just using my fingers here to just sprinkle a bit on here. Might not be what you would do, but works for me. If I get out some screen and spoons and stuff, it just gets all over the place. So now I'm going to use a chopstick to swirl in this gold color, just to give the top a little bit of something extra. And then for my final touch here, I have little melt and pour red roses. Each bar will get one on top. Now everyone, before I cut the soap, I'm going to show you how I unmold. I have shown this before. However, the way I do it has changed since then. So I thought I would just show you this step, and then we'll cut the soap. The appearance, I can tell already, has lightened. Let's flip this around. The red wine had made it look red the day I made it. Now, a couple days later, that redness is gone. So perhaps this year I'll do a series where I show the different colors just from the liquid you use. And we have distilled water. I use distilled water, coconut milk, goat milk, white wine, red wine, and beer. So I should do a video showing you that oh dear me, one of my cats is just running around the house. Yes, Jenkins? Okay, so I'll do a video later showing you just the difference in color you get in this soap only from changing the carrier liquid. The carrier liquid is what I call the liquid you dissolve the sodium hydroxide, also known as lye, in. You have to take lye from being a solid to being dissolved in a liquid in order to blend it with the oils. And so you could choose many different liquids to do that. So what I'm doing here, you might not be able to tell, but you can see where there's a layer of air between the soap and the mold. And I just gently lift a corner and watch that layer of air move across the acrylic panel here. Might be fast moving, might be slow moving. Just be patient. And if this isn't happening yet, give your soap another day. Check it the next day. Another way to make your soap easier to use in this kind of mold is to add salt to the distilled water and lye, or add sodium lactate. My sodium lactate is in a powder form. So as you saw in this soap, I added it dissolved in water. And some other people have mentioned that they get theirs in liquid, and I've seen it added as liquid. But I didn't know at that time if they made it liquid the way I did or purchased it as a liquid. So this side I'm going to do the same thing. I can see here the separation. There's air between the soap and the mold. And I'm just going to gently lift on this corner to get that air pocket to move across the panel. There we go. And I just lift that off. Nice and smooth. Now this is where I've made my change. I used to lift these off the same way. I don't do that anymore. Now I slide. So I take one finger, one hand, push on the soap, one hand I push on the mold. So I'm pushing on the mold with this thumb and pushing on the soap with this hand, and it just slides off like that. Do this on the other side. So this thumb is going to push the mold here, and this hand is going to pull on the soap here. And it just slides off perfectly. There we go. I love this mold. I want to get 2 more of the larger size, and then that would be perfect. I think those would be the molds I use. I currently don't sell enough soap to make that much, so today I make enough soap to make 2 large batches. I want 2 large acrylic molds because I love these edges. I know I could also get these nice edges with a liner in my wooden mold, but I also, I didn't explain what I'm doing here. I also slide off the bottom. So I'm supporting the soap with this hand on the side. I turn it on its side, and I just push on a corner, and it will also start this corner pushing up, and this will just slide off. Just like that. Just kind of pull. There's many ways you could do this, just as long as you're sliding, not pulling that way, because then you will break, you might get marks in the soap. However, look at how perfect this bottom is. Isn't that nice? So I know I could also get this with a liner in my wooden mold. However, I also like being able to see through the acrylic. It's the same reason I use Pyrex. I like being able to see the batter. It's actually still quite soft. You see that edge got a little bit mushed. So I'm just going to let this sit here for about an hour, and then we'll cut it. Okay, I am back now to cut my red wine soap. So I'm just going to line it up here. Let's see if we get a rose on each one. So here's what the end piece looks like here. As this sits and cures, it might change color a little bit. That's very interesting. I have 3 different distinct colors and swirls. So this will be the batter with nothing added, I believe. And a white heart in the corner, red rose on top. So I'm happy with these. The last 2 years I've made my red wine soap in a round format. And the first year they sold, and last year they did not. There was 0 interest in my round beverage soaps. So this year I'm making my beverage soaps. There's interest in my beverage soaps. People are interested. They just would rather buy a bar than the circular soap, so I'll show you what I mean. See, this is a white tea soap. I actually never got them onto the shelves this year. I still have them, I guess, for Valentine's this year. They still smell very nice. But I was making my beverage soaps round. I thought that was interesting. It suggests to you a cup, and some people find this easier to fit in their hand. It's just a different idea. See how these go this year, but last year, and they're also $1 less than the bars because they are smaller. There's the bar and the round. Now this year I'm going to make my beer and white wine and red wine soaps. They're good for Valentine's, I think. That's what I make them for. It's a nice gift to buy. You could buy someone a red wine soap and a solid perfume. That's a perfect Valentine's gift. Or a red wine soap with a soap dish. Or just a soap on its own. It's a nice teacher's gift. Oh, I like that one because it has 3 hearts. So when I do that, I like to make them on different levels. See, that's lower than that, rather than a stripe of hearts across. So I hope that you enjoyed watching me make my red wine Manischewitz soap. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care of yourself and those around you. Bye, everybody.